Good morning, everyone. TGIM, February the 28th, 2022. Busy week we have had locally, regionally, and definitely globally, right? It's kind of wartime on our planet once again, and that's not always something that makes us feel very good, does it? How does it make you feel? Kind of makes you think of like, what can we do? What can we possibly even do from this side of the planet? I refer to a couple quotes in studying and reflecting and meditating this past week as to what can I even do myself. Paul Harris, as you know, is a Rotary founder and a guy that we kind of follow a lot, being members of Rotary International. And he said once upon a time, obviously this isn't the first time we go through this as a human race, he said, it is easier to interest men or people in war or battle than it is in peace. Therefore, it requires more moral courage to talk peace rather than war. Something to think about there. And then Emerson also said once upon a time that peace can't be achieved through violence. It can only be attained through understanding. Kind of really makes you think, doesn't it? I also recall a poem, if you will, and it goes along several lines, and there's some songs even about this that ends up saying that peace begins with me. Peace begins with us. So how can we engage peace, at least in our own circles, right? Let's start there. And to do that, we have to rely on some professionals and some really smart people who kind of try to explain how we can resolve conflicts, because usually war or battles or arguments even start with a conflict that puts two people apart. And Brene Brown, a TED Talk heroine, if you will, is a author of a lot of these kinds of things. And she puts out a little list of some things that we can do, easy things that we can do individually in our own families and teams, so that we can not add to the conflict that reverberates around the world, if you will. One of the first things she said is sit on the same side of a table, and that can be in reality or in figurative speaking. Sit on the same side, so then you can put that conflict, what's dividing the two parties, in front rather than in between. You see, so when you're facing each other across a table, the problem is between. So if you put yourself on the same side, you end up putting that conflict in front, right? And that's why a lot of people have round tables, because then there are no sides in a round table. So if we can try and at least adopt that approach to begin with, then we have commenced to find a solution, hopefully. And then listen to each other's plights, if you will. Listen to what's causing the difference, and then acknowledge those differences. So gotta listen, 2 ears, 1 mouth. So take the turns and listen carefully to what each other is saying and why they are feeling the way they do. And then also acknowledge each other's strengths. Go through a little period of, oh, you're good at this, I might be good at this, and this is what you can maybe offer, and this is what I can offer. And then start using those strengths that we each have. And sometimes there's a lot of common ones to look for solutions, right? Stress-free solution seeking, if you will, in some sort of form. And then you talk about accountability. Yes, usually there's some boo-boos involved. Sometimes they're innocent, sometimes they're because you didn't know any better. So if we can acknowledge the boo-boos some way, somehow, without shame, without blame, we just say, okay, this is what I did, and this is what you did. And, okay, let's put that aside. Let's put that behind, if you will, and then own the parts that we can possibly change, modify, adjust, even if teeny weeny bits, to begin this process to find the solution, to find the ultimate, hopefully enduring solution, and be thankful for each other doing this. You got to come to the table. You got to be willing to find a solution. Otherwise, you end up in that conflict for a long time. And conflicts are not fun. They're not good for either party. Even if one's stronger, bigger than the other, it's not fun. There is still a pain point in there. So if we can be thankful for each other's coming to a table and appreciating the efforts to do this, then there's opportunity to potentially see a solution of some sort. And then pause every now and then and look at what would happen. How would things be if there was a solution reached? How would it change things? We'd be at peace again. We'd be calm again. We'd be secure again. There wouldn't be that thing eating away at us in the gut and the heart and then sleepless nights and all the different things that can happen when you're involved in a conflict like that. So we see the outcome potential, and then that gives us energy to continue on. And if we can each model transparency, it requires transparency. Even the things that we may have been begrudging for a long time or regretting for a long time, and it's caused us to get to this point, if we can put them out in front of us transparently and openness, and again, no shame, no blame, no judgment. It's just it's what we knew best to do with what we knew then. And now we're going to come up with some hopefully new information that can help us adjust. All these things can help us get to that point where we find peace again. Also, she recommends, and all these brilliant people who do this for a living recommend, patience, time. It's not going to be done in one sitting. It's generally not going to be done in maybe even a couple sittings. It's going to take a little bit of time. So there must be patience and this willingness, because with time, things can dilute. The pains can dilute. The missing, the grudges, whatever is hurting can dilute with time. Like when somebody passes away over time, it doesn't go away that we miss them, but it's diluted and it hurts a little bit less with every passing day. And of course, don't stop talking. You can pause, you can reflect, you can think about things that you're talking about, but keep talking. At some point, keep the open conversation going, even if it takes a couple of weeks, even if it takes a couple months, to ultimately get to a solution where you find that peace, and hopefully an everlasting kind of peace again. As Mahatma Gandhi says, we have to be the change. Peace begins with me. So I have to do what I can to resolve any and all conflicts in my own circle. When we do that, then there's this little vibe that goes out, and then we can do things a whole lot better. And then we have this calm and peace and comforting that comes from that, so that we can then give again things that are in line with being peace-filled, with being loving and kind and compassionate. Oh boy, there's a lot to digest in all of that, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel if we can practice this and commit to practicing this to minimize and eliminate any of these conflicts that we have. And hopefully others too can see how we can harmonize with things and find the common ground and be able to seek out those stress-free solutions. Not easy, I know. Takes a lot of saliva swallowing, as my dad would say, but ultimately we can do this. Think about it. Hopefully there are things in your own lives that you can put those little fires out and make our world even a little better, our own personal circle of the world a little better, and then hopefully it can butterfly effect and ripple out into the world. What do you think? Take a deep breath, think about it. Do what is yours to do. Have a great day. Have an awesome, peace-filled week, thinking about what we can do to engage peace. Thank you. Cheers. Ciao.